This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. It is Monday. We are joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you.
Good to be seen and to see you.
Let's talk about the old men first, all right?
Old men.
Roger Federer at age 35. That's old in tennis years.
That's ancient.
You're a big tennis buff. Wins Wimbledon for the 8th time?
Yes, most ever.
Ninth time?
9th time, wasn't it? It broke Sampras's record of 8th or 9th, but
Yes.
It's the most ever by anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
you
about
were duly impressed, weren't you?
You know.
You didn't rattle off on a tweet storm about it like I thought you would.
You know what?
What?
I forgot to watch it. You know why?
You forgot to watch it?
You know why?
Why?
I was so wrapped in your show yesterday because I was going to be on. And I had to watch the whole thing because I was on at the end.
Yeah.
So I was watching that. I watched Meet the Press. I was into the
You were
news.
into politics
and then
and
I
not
see,
tennis.
I see late in the afternoon that it was a wipeout, which I was not surprised by. Federer, what a great champion. I mean, there's a lot of our modern day sports champions kind of let us down, you know, in their behavior, or maybe the home run king of all time was on steroids,
Right.
or maybe the star running back is a domestic batterer, or
got paid under the table
or
something. Right.
Tiger Woods turns out to be the way he was.
Sure.
Roger Federer is not only the most graceful player, and I guess altogether the best player ever, but he handles himself, comports himself with absolute class at all times. Which reminds me of a political reference. I'm in an ongoing feud with Donald Trump's man in Arkansas, Bud Cummins, about whether character matters in politics and about whether public behavior matters in a president. He's saying, no, what matters is the job that they do, and we can't believe what we see in a public behavior anyway, because some guys put forth public faces of great character, but they're actual frauds. And so he excuses Trump's public behavior that way. I don't. I think the American presidency is approximately as important as professional tennis. And I think we could use a little more of that kind of Federer-like grace, class, and public behavior in our president.
I'm so proud of you. That was a great segue and pulling two different things together, sports and politics. That's what I do. That was beautiful. Almost.
Well, thank you very much. And I think it's a strong point. I also might have, I might have practiced it a little because you told me you might bring up Federer. I might have practiced it a little. Even so, I mean, it's...
Well, you and Bud
occasion.
Cummins, I'm going to hand you the keys to this desk in about 2 weeks and let you and Bud Cummins have a little conversation without me.
My column tomorrow, and we're going to just wander briefly afield, because you might want to ask me about that too. It's about Bud, who's become a big Fox News talking head. And he was on yesterday morning saying that those who allege possible collusion in the Donald Trump Jr. meeting with the Russian people are guilty of McCarthyism. That's what he said. And I don't think that they are. I think McCarthyism was something quite different and more sinister and more oppressive than having an opinion that your president's son shouldn't have had a meeting with thinking that people affiliated with the Russian government were going to give him dirt on his opponent. So that's my column tomorrow. He and I have been in a text war for 24 hours now. Neither will let the other, we're like Jason Raper, neither will let the other have the last word. In fact, I said, I got to go do Roby Brock, this is going to be the last word. But then he said something, and I said, wait, can't let that go. So while we've been talking, we've had a few. So it should be good. 2 weeks from now, you're going to be what, vacationing or doing something?
Well, I'm not going to be vacationing, but I'm going to be out of pocket that day.
And I'm going to, and Bud and I are just going to chat about, and we get along, and or at least we did until the last day or two.
It'll be good times.
And we're going to talk about these kinds of things. So it'll be a good installment, we hope.
It'll be good times.
Yeah.
While I got you on the subject here of controversial issues, you wrote your column. You wrote a column about UALR maybe not needing a football team. You forayed back into sports there again. So.
Well, it's not a sports story. This seems to be the local approach to how to make Little Rock great again. We're going to it's like a threefer, not a twofer, but a threefer. It's gonna heal our community. It's gonna to hear the city leaders and state leaders say, it's gonna heal our community. It's gonna stop this. It's gonna improve the stagnant enrollment at UALR, and it's gonna make vibrant again War Memorial Stadium. So they're going to study whether all this will happen. I think none of that happens if we have a Sun Belt last place football team out at UALR and running up massive deficits and charging incredible student athletic fees in order to pay for it. I think it's a lame idea, and I also think it just reflects the simplicity of our thinking and just this silliness of our obsession with college football or college athletics. I mean, I root for the Razorbacks most of the time.
But if they lose, you certainly have a lot of commentary on the Razorbacks.
But it's to offer this as some sort of community enhancement or even perhaps even a panacea is just absurd. And it has so little to do with college. Do you know the basketball team does no longer calls itself UALR? They're called Little Rock.
That's right.
They just take the university out of it. So, and who are these people?
Everybody calls Fayetteville, Fayetteville.
No, they call that the Razorbacks.
But they also call it Fayetteville. Where do you go to school? I go to school at Fayetteville.
Okay.
That's the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, but I go to school at Fayetteville. They're trying to capture that same kind of spirit there. Where do you go to school? Little Rock. Okay.
They do not call it the Fayetteville Razorbacks. It's the University of Arkansas Razorbacks. It has a. And who are these people?
They're millennials. You got to get with the times, John. Now, come on now.
Roby,
you're getting stodgy in your old age.
No, I just want to. I just see hypocrisy and banality and absurdity where it is, and I want to know who are they? They say that this will help UALR's enrollment. I want to round up the people who are not now going to college, but will go to UALR if they have a football team. I want to see them. I want to ask them, what is it about UALR having a football team that just compels you to get into biology lab that you wouldn't have gone into before?
We'll
These are my
questions. Present them to you. You've thrown down the gauntlet. We'll see if they respond. What's your idea for making Little Rock great again?
Making Little Rock great again requires a full police force and stricter crime fighting at the police level. It also requires a strong political leadership, visionary leadership that brings together the forces that are cancerously divided in this community. You've got to get from Chenal to the east side, and you've got from the south side to the Heights, and you've got to get people talking to each other and caring about each other and working together, and that is, and that's the only way it can be attacked. I'm not going to say solved, but attacked. And let's see if it happens. I saw that you said on your show yesterday the city's got something forthcoming. After you ran my criticism of the city,
that there will be a plan of action rolled out.
I look forward to it. I hope it's good, and
I hope it happens on Thursday, as I've been told.
Since you said so.
All right. So the nucleus of the John Brummett for Little Rock Mayor campaign has been established right here on Talk Business and Politics. Let's take a commercial break and come back and talk about health care at the federal level.
Good.
All right?
Yeah, that's important.
Mayor Brummett with more when we come back.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
Welcome back to Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brogwell with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Let's turn our attention to health care and what is happening as we speak at the federal level. There is always the opportunity that things could have changed in a millisecond. Susan Collins, Rand Paul, two GOP senators for different reasons opposed to moving forward on the procedural vote for healthcare. John McCain out with some sort of surgery that was apparently pretty complicated and involved his eye. The CBO score, I'm told, has been delayed in terms of coming out today. What's your assessment of where we are with healthcare in the U.S. Senate right now? Is it going to happen this week?
No, not this week. They don't. They gotta. If Paul and Susan Collins are telling the truth, and I assume that they are, they're both out there, then they can't spare a vote, even on what they intended to have this week, which was a procedural vote to advance a debate. So until McCain comes back, no, maybe not ever.
Yeah, there were some other senators that were on the fence
I mean,
about even having the procedural
there are a lot
vote.
there are a lot of people who still. You got West Virginia Senator Caputo.
Right.
You've got Portman in Ohio, who's influenced by Kasich, and you've got still Heller in Nevada. All these who have Republican governors who are Medicaid expansion states like Arkansas have expressed reservations, except for 2 Republican senators who have a Republican governor at home who has accepted Medicaid expansion and is opposed to the Medicaid provisions of this bill, who won't state any reservations. They won't state anything. I'm talking about Bozeman and Cotton, and I was pleased to see that you sort of, in your very polite, finessed way, call them out a little bit in your show.
Well, you did see where Bozeman's statement was, we all want to get to yes, which means there is a willingness to do something to get to that point where they can vote yes. But what that is
what that
still
means, we don't know.
Very
but
mysterious.
Here's what I think: if they pass the procedural vote to advance the debate, then they can have amendments, and then everybody can say they did their best to amend the bill. And I suspect Bozeman, I don't know about Cotton, who knows, would join with efforts to make some changes in the Medicaid provision. But I do not believe that the Senate Republican caucus will ever agree. And once you do a little something more for Medicaid expansion, you lose on the right. I think the vote may be the vote to advance debate that essentially will pass it, because significant, substantial, substantive amendments can't pass with the divide in the party. And then you end up with Mitch McConnell saying, John, I need you.
Yeah.
We've got to get to 50. And I gave you a chance to put to do something on this Medicaid, and y'all couldn't get it done. And then Arkansas gets the shaft. That's what I think is going to happen. And let me just say this: if it's 50 votes, okay, 50 votes, and they've got if there are 52 Republicans, 2 have said they're against it. That leaves 50. That means all of them have to vote to advance debate. Asa Hutchinson is saying this is not good for Arkansas. This leaves a giant hole in our budget and our economy. John Bozeman or Tom Cotton could simply stop it at this procedural vote. They could simply say no. They could, because one more vote is the decisive vote. Let's be clear. If you're in the healthcare industry, if you're a Medicaid recipient, if you're a Medicaid expansion recipient, if you're a rural hospital, your 2 United States senators are in a position to singularly protect you. And there's no evidence they're going to do it.
This is the inverse of 2009 and Blanche Lincoln casting the deciding vote. Well, she did actually cast the deciding vote, although everybody got tagged with casting the deciding vote. She was the last one to go on the record.
Yeah, right. And so everybody, so that becomes a decisive vote. Then it turns out they said Mark Pryor has the decisive vote.
Well, that was a few years later.
They all become decisive when they're that close. But in this case, I want it understood that these guys could singularly stop this bill. But I think they're beholden to their party, they're beholden to the right-wing base, they're beholden to their president, more than they're beholden to Arkansas. And I can say that because neither of them has said otherwise. Mm-hmm. When Bozeman says, everybody wants to get to 50, he said, man, I want to be able to vote for this. He doesn't say, I want to be able to protect my state. He says, I want to be able to vote for this. I found it outrageous and symptomatic, not just of our 2 senators, but of the dysfunction and polarization of our politics. What needs to happen, and then I'll shut up about it, is for the reasonable moderates in the center of both parties to get together, give and take, and come up with an Obama fix bill and tell McConnell on one side and Cruz on one side, Schumer on the other, get with us, or you get nothing.
Right.
That's how it ought to work.
You want to see the bipartisan fix there, where
I
there's
want
maybe
to
60
see
to
statesmanship
65.
and statesmanship and functioning government. That's what I want to see.
Last question for you on this subject. Do you think there's the possibility that McConnell lets the vote go out there and fail, and then they are able to say, the Republicans are able to say, we tried, but we couldn't get it done because the Democrats wouldn't work with us, even though that's a deceptive line when they have the majority right there? Because the consequences of passing a GOP-led Senate bill, from what we've seen in terms of the details, could have some pretty devastating effects on people.
You're getting sort of into the manipulative, cynical weeds there. But yeah, I mean, I think being a naive, altruistic person, I think in terms of passing legislation.
I'm supposed to believe you're naive.
Yes, yeah, I think in terms of passing legislation. I think I exhibit it every Monday on this show. I think in terms of passing a bill that works for everybody and advances the human cause, the American cause. That's what. But if you're simply concerned about politics, as Schumer is, on the other side, the Democrats could offer a counter bill now and appeal to Republican moderates, but they don't.
They haven't hung anything out there.
They have not. So they're guilty of representational malpractice, just as Republicans are. But if McConnell is saying, okay, we really don't need to pass this because it's got downside, but two, we need to look like we've tried like heck to repeal and replace Obamacare and we just couldn't get it done, then let's hang this out and let's have our vote. That's very cynical, and that's a possibility. And fortuitous, because the bill's horrible for Medicaid, for states, for Medicaid and for states that rely as much as Arkansas does on Medicaid.
Always good to get your naive and altruistic take.
That's what I'm here for,
politics
altruism and naivete. And sports, yes.
John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. You can catch him on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. You can catch him online at arkansasonline.com. Really every day of the week, those columns plus a Wednesday online column only. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
All right. That is all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. We'll see you next time.